Now, I'm happy to announce to you guys that I'm actually gonna be starting a new build on the channel, and it's gonna be on the car behind me, which is my 1992 BMW 325i. Now, this one is not an auction car disaster, or is it one that I bought from some punk teenagers on Facebook Marketplace? This is a car that was actually in storage for over 10 years, and it has 77,000 original miles on it. And for the drift tax that happens here in the Pacific Northwest, this is like practically like finding a unicorn. So I feel super fortunate and super lucky that I was able to find something like this, and that now I'm gonna be taking the next steps to bring it back to what it once was. My goal with this is to do an OEM plus build. A lot of the suspension components and the rubber on this are decaying, because what happens with a car that sits like this for such a long period of time is that it slowly starts falling apart. And as crazy as it sounds, this is actually my daily driver. Yes, I have actually lost my mind. I don't know why I do this to myself, but apparently I like psychological torture and pain. So with this one, it's been leaking air, fuel, and oil. And, oh, let's not forget the power steering fluid as well. But I think the cool thing with these cars is that they can have their problems, but mechanically, they are very strong. And that was the biggest reason why I wanted to go for this one for the 325. The previous E36 that I picked up was the 328i, which has the 2.8 liter M52 motor. And then before that, the auction disaster one that I bought, the 318i that I bought for like $425, has the little 4-cylinder, the M42. But this one has one of my favorite engines of all time, the M50, non-Vanos. So it's an early model. As you can see, it has the non-painted bumpers and that such. So I'll give you guys a quick walk around of the car and kind of give you more details as to what I'm gonna be doing with this. But I do think that this is gonna be a really exciting one. It's just really me signing myself up for more work. But it's all for stuff that I like, so it's all good. So for those that are unfamiliar as to how I got this car, I actually got it off of Facebook Marketplace. It was being sold by this woman that, unfortunately, she's just not in a place in her life where she can drive a manual transmission anymore. I think she was just going through some pain and discomfort when driving a manual, just like in the knees. And it's unfortunate that that happens to some people over time. And it was sitting for so long, and it has a full documentation of it. And I still remember the day we picked this up. It was Ray and I give this guy a call, and I told him, bro, I think I found it. And I messaged the woman, and I told her, I'll bring cash with me, but please just let me be the first one to look at it, because I almost knew immediately that this car was gonna go quick. And she told me that there were a couple other people looking at it, or they wanted to come look at it, but Ray and I hopped in the car and we came and looked, and we were just in awe of the condition of it. Now, it's not perfect, and I don't think that any 32-year-old car is gonna be perfect. And I've already done some stuff to it, and you might have even seen on the rear end, that are not as the way I bought it. And of course, I had to get my mitts on it. And I know, yeah, I probably could have kept it 100% stock and turned around and sell it, but I'm not in the business of doing that. And this one, I really wanna do it some justice. One of my favorite color combos on an E36, Alpine white with the tan leather interior. Again, very low mileage example, and it really drives like it too. Mechanically, it's in very good shape, even though it has some gremlins, and I'll show you there in a sec. And I had to make sure that it got christened with the tastefully clapped sticker, of course. But this is probably my favorite E36 that I've owned so far, and I haven't even done too much to it. One of the biggest things though, when I first bought it, is that it had no brakes. The brakes were absolutely torched. A little while back, I put on some pads and rotors, and it really made it serviceable so that you could drive something like this on a daily basis. Now, with that, it's still gonna have a lot of things that it needs to be combed through, but of course, again, I needed to get the modification aspects out of this. So I actually just put on a set of ECS tuning coilovers in the front, and then I have a whole bunch of suspension components in the shop that I can show you guys what I'm gonna be putting on. Now, I'm not saying that this is the end-all, be-all of everything, but I think this is gonna be a great starting point for me. And before we get into the video too, I wanna give a huge shout out to Turner Motorsport and ECS Tuning for hooking me up with these parts. And this is what I got so far. So this is the ECS Tuning non-M coilovers. I believe on the M cards it's a little bit different, but you know, there's so many different coilovers for these cars. I think this will be good just for good balance of, you know, 10K in the front, 10K in the rear. So a little bit on the stiffer side, but you can still daily it. This is what I actually run on my convertible, and they're actually quite nice. And then I have the tubular lower control arms, again, which would be a substantial upgrade from what is originally here on the car. As you can see, this stuff looks ancient, and the biggest thing really is just changing out the lollipop bushing, which will make a huge difference just in terms of everything lining up correctly. And then right here, I also have the roll center correction kit, and this is something you're going to use when you lower the car to a certain point. Once the car gets low enough, you're going to change all the geometry on the suspension, and actually this helps combat that. And it also gives you what's called the Ackerman adjustment, so that you can run the wheel in the front to be a little bit more angled so that you have more tire patch when you're making full turns. So this would actually be a really nice upgrade for this one. I don't want it to be a full-blown drift car, but I do have the limited slip differential, and you guys know that I'm gonna get the itch, and I have to take this thing to the track just to see how it performs. I have already preset the coilovers here. Just to go about halfway. I don't want to overkill it too much and compromise the ride. So I'm going to start off with a very mild drop and then go from there and see how it turns out. I'm very excited for this one. And one of the biggest things that you want to do too, that's worth mentioning, is the shock tower reinforcement. Now the E36 BMWs, they're very notorious for having issues with shock towers tearing out just because of the thin sheet metal over time. Rust and things of that sort start to develop, and this is just like a while you're in there, you might as well upgrade it sort of deal. So the front coilovers will be a nice addition too, and it will give us the full adjustability to be able to lower and raise the car. So now I'm gonna teleport you guys to a dungeon. You guys thought I was kidding. I'm dead serious. I'm in the dungeon. So anyways, I have a full M replica body kit for this thing. And what's gonna be really nice with this is it's gonna just add a whole nother layer of dimension for this. I think that I'm not gonna go crazy and be sacrilegious and put an M badge on the car, but this is like a very commonplace thing to do. Everybody does it. And yes, I am also gonna be one of those people, but I think just from a visual standpoint, since it is two-tone already, I thought that this would be a nice way to level up. The front is like this gray, and then the side skirts are also, hopefully I didn't just break them, but they're also a different shade of gray. So it makes me wonder if maybe color matching this for now would be the move while it's off the car, or if I just take it, install this stuff, and then get it painted, and then it could be blended. So you can have all the panels blend with the rest of the stuff. But for now, I'll probably just put this on the to-do list as something that I need to put on. On the back side, we see that I also put an exhaust on. Turner Motorsport, they hooked me up with this 2.5-inch catback exhaust. It sounds incredible. And we'll probably have to take this out on some back roads just to really open it up so you guys can hear this. Again, I think a lot of this is going to be coming down to what I saw in the drivetrain. And when you have a car this old, a lot of just the rubbers and plastics, they get very hard. Now, when I show you this, this is actually going to be the result of me doing a little bit of a detail in the engine bay. And I'll show that to you guys in another video, but this is what the engine currently looks like. Again, I just get such a kick out of looking at this thing. I love this motor so much. So this is the M50 B25 2.5 liter dual overhead cam inline six. And if there's something that BMW is good at, it's these inline sixes, man. It's really awesome. I do have the camber plate adjustments here, and I also will be running an Ackerman adjustment and some tubular lower control arms so that there'll be some more settings to tweak this, you know, for when we take this to the track, slide it around and all that good stuff. What's nice about the non-Vanos is usually on the Vanos models, there'll be like a line that goes into here. I think it feeds into the oil filter housing. And, you know, it's really just a preference thing at the end of the day, but these are notorious for their reliability and the fact that you can boost them. I'm not saying that I'm going to boost this one immediately, but it's something I've been thinking about. I thought it'd be pretty cool. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get rid of all this nasty stuff that's on the shock towers. I'm not worried about it. It's an engine bay. It's going to get dirty anyways. It's some stuff that the previous owner had done at the BMW dealership was the aluminum housing for the thermostat the water pump's been replaced. Radiator looks to be in pretty good shape, but I think it is original. And that's going to be one of the other upgrades that I have for this is I'm going to be running a Coilrad aluminum radiator, which I'm very excited for. And then I had to replace a lot of the rubbers over here. And now I could show you what the original intake tube looked like because I held on to it because it was just absolutely horrendous. I was getting some really horrible check engine lights and stuff, and it was because this is completely split. I mean, you can see it looks like it's talking. So I definitely got my work cut out for me. It's gonna be like that for a lot of the stuff. I've had it on the lift multiple times. I will say that it's very rust free, which is a huge plus really. But what makes me nervous is really the cooling system. I mean, just this looks a little sketchy to me. Just like on the 325 or the 328i that I had, this split right off when I was trying to teach Ray how to drive manual. He almost had a heart attack. That was really funny though. But I mean, come on, man, it's E36. I'm always excited when I see one of these cars. So I think the overall goal is that I want this to be a reliable, fun, daily OEM plus. Yes, I know all of my cars, they kind of go through this weird thing where I can't keep my mitts off of them and I like to modify them and do all that fun stuff. But I think this one, I still want to maintain, you know, what it originally was. And I don't want to gut the interior, put a cage in it and make it into a full-blown drift car. But I am going to change it aesthetically. And what I'm actually going to do is, since this is an early model E36, they have the unpainted bumpers, is that I actually have a full M replica body kit that I'm going to put on this. So I'm not going to put M badges on it. I feel like that's sacrilegious and you get banished to the shadow realm if you do something like that to your BMW. But what my plan is to replace all of this, and I'm going to have it paint matched to the Alpine white. And we're gonna make it look really nice, and I think it will really transform the car. And you might be wondering why I'm not running a rear diffuser, and it's because of the clearance issues that I was having with the M3 muffler. Because this is just slightly coming too close. I didn't want to melt off the diffuser from driving it. So this is really just to maintain everything. And I think what's nice about it too is that at the end of the day, if I ever wanted to go back to stock, I'm going to keep all this stuff. But I think that for the time being, I want to have some fun with it and I want to make it look really nice. And again, I'm not going to go full LTW livery on it and try and make it a lightweight. If you look up the E36 lightweight, it's this kind of same color scheme, except it has the checkers on the hood and the fender. It's a very rock solid car, and I think I lucked out with this one. I know that it's still gonna give me some headaches. It's leaking. Like I was showing you, I had some vacuum leaks. It also is leaking a little bit of oil from the oil filter housing, but it's not enough to where it's completely depleting everything in the oil system. So it's just weeping, which is very annoying. And then the power steering lines, I mean, that's very notorious stuff. But I'm gonna be doing a full service on this, going through everything, and I'm gonna take you guys on the journey with me. But in the meantime, you guys should let me know down in the comments what you think about this build, and I'll consider it when going forward. And I know that this is a lot with the current state of the Civic. It's in pieces right now. And the fact that I'm still gonna be going to auctions, it's always very tempting to go out and start messing with it even more. But I wanna do just like some fun stuff when it comes to the point of view driving, just like I've done before with other cars, and really be able to transform this one. I think I'm not gonna go over the top, but I am very, very happy with how it is going so far. Again, a lot of weird random stuff with it. The worst stereo on planet Earth, by the way. These have horrible stereo systems. I took that out, replaced that, got that all set up. And I mean, I could really write a book about just all the weird random stuff that I've had with these old BMWs. And I'll wrap it up by saying that one of the weirdest things on this car was the wiper blades. At one point in time, they would not turn off. So it would be just going full blast all the time. And I just looked like a crazy person driving around. And sometimes even the squirters would come on, and it just got so bad. It was so funny that I eventually was able to figure out what it was. And it was just the window washer module. It's like this little brain of a computer that sits in the dead pedal by the footwell. You have to pull the carpet up. So it's a whole thing. But anyways, I think we're gonna wrap up today's video here, and you guys should let me know what you guys think down in the comments about my E36. Is this something you would buy? Have I lost my mind with all these crusty old BMWs and I should move on? Or should I even just consider dropping all this stuff altogether? You guys let me know. But anyways, hope you have a great day.